What's going on, everybody? Anthony from hashtag Be the Change. Truth will set you free. Blunt force discussion. It is time for Truth will set you free, episode 140. Got Casey over here. I'm Anthony. What's going on, Casey?
Don't be too excited, man. Jeez.
I know. Just living and loving. So I just added this to YouTube. So funny story, Casey. We got the 1 week ban on the other YouTube page, which I just brought back up on here. Eventually, I will be. We got to figure out how we can get to Rumble and just live stream it to Rumble. You have to have an RMTP feed, but when you do that, you don't get to have comments. There's a setup process that we got to figure out how to do that. But so interestingly enough, 7 days was last Wednesday, but because I contested it and the contesting didn't make a decision saying you're still at fault until the 6th. It was another 7 days from that. So it ended up being a 2 week. Yeah, Casey, that's real. That's real life.
That's just stupid, but I'm not surprised.
At this point.
When it comes to YouTube, what do you expect?
Such utter
unfortunately, it is their platform, and we just have to obey their rules. But until other platforms get to their user base or their amount of activity on their site, we still have to be there.
They can take these balls, jiggle them, and all gargle them at the same time. The YouTube, I keep having these conversations about echo chambers and like you have to go outside of your echo chambers. YouTube serves no purpose to anybody telling the truth. That's the one that I have to be okay with ditching at one point. I see everybody's comments. I love it. Southern Grammy, clearly one of our youngest followers. Lori Wagner, Chad. That was a joke, Casey. Grant, I'll do it again. Grammy. Okay. Let's go. Janine, Jackie, always good seeing you. Somebody's in for a Trump. They're ready to rock the Trumpinator. Jennifer Dean, Audrey, what's up? This is a new name. Aurelia, what's up? Hope you're having a good day. Light Warrior, I believe you were on the last episode. I feel like, I don't know. And last but not least, in this group of people saying hello, David, what's up? We're rocking some gear today. Casey's got the Defend the Media shirt on. I am doing the
defend the media.
Did I say defend?
Yes.
Defund the media. The Defund the Media shirt. Defend these nuts. We need another one that says that. Defend these nuts, and then have like Ron Paul or something on the middle there. Because he's kind of nuts, but you got to defend him at the same time. And I wish that he was young enough to be a part of this whole shit show. Maureen, what's up? Kim, as always, great seeing you. Shannon, Chirac, awesome. Destroy the Media is not bad either. So I'm also rocking the Pure Blood shirt. It's the black on black. We also have it white on black. And then I've got Wake Not Woke hat. Casey's rocking the Pure Blood hat. God, it's a good looking hat, Casey.
Yes. I like this hat. It's funny wearing this hat around. I don't get I don't get as much attention as I do when I wear my Wake Not Woke hat. I don't get people commenting on it, but I do get people to glance and look at it and read it. And then when I look at them eye to eye, they look away. And I'm like,
well, they don't have the balls to really say anything about it. Where's the thing for this? I should probably organize this. There it is. AwakeNotWokeStore.com. Use Awake for 15% off. Got a wide variety of gear. If you like it, check it out. I think Light Warrior, I feel like until I start saying that maybe Trump's not the answer, I think we're friends right now. So before I talk shit about Trump, go ahead and buy the shirt.
You're saying you give it 27 minutes? Is that what you're saying?
27 minutes. But here's the deal. I got to say what's happening to Trump right now is utter and complete garbage. We're going to talk about that. I was on I'm doing radio tomorrow for doing the Fox radio tour in the morning. And I was on a show in Houston yesterday where I'm like, let me stay on for a second because they had a caller call in when my phone dropped. And the guy he says, I'm an independent. Okay. And then they asked him, they're like, who are you going to vote for? If you have to vote now. And he's like, I'm still leaning towards Biden. I'm like, oh God. And then he started talking. I'm like, there is no true independent. But then it gets worse. He said that in all reality, like he talked positive about Bernie Sanders. I like him, but I'm like, you're not an independent. You're a Bernie bro that was disenfranchised with the last Democrat primary. So you decided to become an independent by choice, but in all reality, you're just a Democrat. Period. Stop lying to people.
They're trying to separate themselves to make them more relevant, but then when you actually probe them or ask them some more questions, you're like, oh, you're just lying. Thanks.
Yeah, you're lying. Blatantly lying. Today's a simple show. We're going to be taking some comments and questions potentially as we go, and we'll field some stuff as we do things back and forth. Again, hit the like, hit the share, do all the things. But we're going to be talking about George Soros handing over the $25 billion kingdom, which has not got enough play in the media, to his incredibly even more liberal and politically active son. We'll talk about that. And of course, the big stuff with Donald Trump, with the indictment, with Vivek Ramaswamy, literally like so far up Trump's booty hole that you can already smell the vice president coming out of him, which again, I'm not against. I'm not against what he's doing. I'm actually not against Vivek and Trump being an interesting ticket, as much as I still might lean more DeSantis at this point. I also think DeSantis, we'll get into it, because I think DeSantis had an opportunity that it didn't take on this one. Oh, Shannon. Yeah. I believe as though you're doing that to the person thinking that they were independent. All right, let's go ahead and get the show started. What do you say? You good to go, Case?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's go. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 140. We're going to be talking simple topics today. Not a ton of stuff to cover. We've got, of course, the Trump indictment, and of course, was the Trump indictment, and we also have the George Boros. I forgot. I should be saying George Boros, or Goros. I don't want to say the oros with the S, because that automatically makes him go, can't talk bad about him because he pays for everything that we do. We're going to be talking about that. And I do have to immediately see this comment and say, you are dead correct. And we're going to, Casey, should we, he's not wrong. There is a mishandling portion with the Presidential Records Act that he could be at fault for. There are some glaring issues in the indictment that show that he may have done some questionable things. However, pales in comparison to the fact that Joe Biden actually has classified documents and he was never president from when he got them. Let's play the whataboutism game. We kind of have to.
Well, there's a part that they're wrong.
Where?
Didn't Pence find classified documents that he talked about a couple months ago?
And Pence should be punished as well. I mean, there should be punishment. I mean, we're going back, and I really enjoyed the conversation I had on Houston radio yesterday, because it really did encompass the solution to all this, which is punish everybody, but you have to do it at the same time. So let's jump right into it. We'll end with Boros. So ultimately, when we're talking about the, let me just throw this on the bottom. If you guys want to become a Patreon, I have not promoted this in a while. Patreon.com/BeTheChangeUSA. And to give an update on Cash, I think he's en route to Arizona. Don't know how long the hold will be before we talk to him, which I think, did she say it is his final destination?
Well, that's what we're anticipating. Yeah, that this one is.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to what's being done to Trump, and I've read through the whole indictment, Casey and I talked about the indictment. There's some things that were done wrong. I think that you're not going to hear on Fox News. I haven't even heard it on any alternative right-leaning media. Definitely not going to hear it on the left. Where did they get all of these recordings from, Casey?
I don't know. This whole thing confuses me. If the FBI came out and said a few months back that the only reason why he had these documents and all of these things were for his ego and they were just memoir type of things, why are there all of a sudden these charges? Like,
and these recordings, they've had these for a while, so they had to find a way to match certain documents. So people are like, wow, 37 counts. They went through the wall behind me, wouldn't even touch the amount of boxes of documents that he had pulled when he left. And out of those, I should have the number in front of me. It's 31. Is it 31 top secret? Where is it? What page is it?
I want to say it's, hang on.
I should hold on. I got the indictment in front of me. If you can find the exact numbers. So out of all of those boxes, there's a certain amount of top secret, a certain amount of secret, and a certain amount of classified. It's under 100 in total. So they found all these documents, and then they've actually started saying the Espionage Act, which is absurd. And the only thing that I can think of is this is going to be used for verbal marketing and political fodder, so that the Democrats can literally say, how could you vote for a president that has been indicted, not convicted, but indicted on the Espionage Act? He made a threat to the United States of America. That's complete. There is nothing in this indictment that is in any way, shape, or form, even with the recordings that he has that are a little fishy, that he's literally telling people, I can't show this. I never declassified this. This is a secret, which again, how that doesn't scream as a trap to anybody else that they have been planning for this whole time is absurd to me. But you can't find anything in there because the Espionage Act strictly states that there was something done with the intention of undermining national security or potentially aiding a foreign power against the United States of America. It's a completely bogus charge, right, Case?
I think it's stretching at the most to be able to charge him for this. However, we got to wait until we see it in court and actually see when it's presented. Like, we're looking at the documents, and the documents pose a case. They seem like it's a stretch, but that is where the court is supposed to come in and be able to go through it and be like, does this charge fit? No. Okay. It doesn't fit. Gone. You're not going to be charged with it. So I'm not surprised, but I do feel like this whole thing is just a complete stretch. I don't think there's going to be anything to come of it other than a waste of time.
There's a image in the document. So I'm looking at it right now. So Trump's office had 6 top secret, 18 secret, 3 confidential. The storage room had 11 top secret, 36 secret, and 28 confidential, meaning that there was a total of 17 top secret top secret documents out of all of that paperwork. Now, the other thing is in the actual indictment, you're going to see some images. One is of a room in Mar-a-Lago that had these boxes, and the claim they make is there were events being held while these boxes were there. I don't know if anybody knows anybody with money and cares as much as Trump does to make an appearance. There is no way those boxes are out while there is a party going on. It's tacky. It's like there's just no way. Like, people are just not walking around having their $100 glass of wine or whiskey while there is. I mean, it's such like it's blatantly ridiculous and obvious. Hey, Len, I haven't seen him in a while. Stevie, what's up?
And also keep in mind, like, when they did when they actually contacted him about these documents very early on to investigate this, they even said, hey, you should probably put another lock on that. Like, so they are implying it was already locked up. It was already out of there, but they suggested another one.
Yeah.
And he did it. And it's like, why now? So all this is the government using their bullies to go around and put Trump's name in the mud to try to ruin him. All it's doing is amplifying Trump. It's just making more people support him.
I don't think it is. I think it's again
really?
making the loud supporters louder, and it's just dividing the vote on the Democrats and the Republicans even fiercer, because now you're gonna have the Democrats going, you're literally gonna vote for a traitor, you're voting for a spy. And then the independents right now, the independents typically are starting to shift right, but they're still listening to leftist media, so they're getting the other side of the stick on this one. I don't think this is actually this one is different than the Stormy Daniels one for Donald Trump. I think on a national level, it's going to propel him even more to the winning of the primary and even worse in the general. This one to me is a good strategy by the Democrats, and it sucks.
Okay.
You see that? See that possibility?
I can, but the thing is you're just causing more people on the right just to double down. The people that may have an open mind to vote for DeSantis or vote for somebody else. Like, I am done with DeSantis now. Time's up. He hasn't done his thing, but we'll deal with that later.
I want to know. Let's go there. Why are you done with?
No, ever since he shared those fake images in that campaign video, his campaign, and he didn't address it. No, I'm done with it.
You mentioned that in a text. I didn't even know what you were talking about. What happened?
Yeah, he released a campaign video that has deep fake pictures of Trump kissing Fauci and hugging Fauci, and they are fake, and they are in a legitimate campaign video from DeSantis.
Oh, I gotta see this.
Here, I'll pull it up.
See if you can.
And so people that are on the fence with DeSantis now and probably leaving, are going to be all in on Trump. Like, fine, I'm still not, but it's when it comes to this, I see this is just going to propel him. Polls are already showing, like Tim Pool did a video today. Polls are already jumping up even higher in supporting Trump. But war room.
Are you sure? Are you, as you're looking for it, because I'm looking for it as well. Are you sure that it was not one of the DeSantis PACs that he has nothing to do with that shared that did that commercial?
It was posted by DeSantis War Room.
Is that a DeSantis PAC, or is that there's a lot of PACs that are supporting DeSantis that actually he has nothing to do with?
This is supposed to be his. It's also got the checkbox.
All right, let's see it.
Go back. It's I said I'm going to give him a week. If he doesn't address it and come out and say, "Hey, there was an error, there was a mistake," or anything like that, then so be it. And he didn't address it at all. Where is the video?
All right. So where are we at this point? I can't believe I'm leaning to that. I mean, again, I've never said that I will not vote for Trump in the primary. I'm saying that I needed a lot more information. I'd love to see him speak out against this a little bit more. I have yet to hear one thing from RFK Jr. that I do not like. Not one.
I want to actually hear him debate and talk.
Right.
We've heard him just do his little thing, and it's like cool, but I want to actually hear him debate and be put under a little bit of pressure. Here's the video. It's short, so we'll go over it. There we go. Oh crap! I don't know if I clicked share audio.
I didn't even know that. I thought it automatically does that now.
Does it? Okay, it does. Okay. So
you're fired. Today I walk in, I hear I'm going to fire him. I'm not firing him. I think he's a wonderful guy.
Should you have fired Fauci?
So a lot of people ask me that question, and I did it right. Because if you do fire him, you're going to have a firestorm on the left again.
Why did you feel unable to fire Fauci?
Personally, you're not allowed to. Every time he goes on television.
Right there. This top picture in the top left, fake. The picture in the bottom right, fake. These are AI generated images, and the one in the middle at the bottom is fake. I can't hear you.
Yeah, you can tell that they're AI. Okay.
Yeah, well, if you look at the White House logo behind Fauci in the top left, it says Mayhap. It doesn't even say White House.
Yeah. All right, keep playing it because I want to see the end. The key now is the end of the commercial. By the way, actually pause it. Pause it again, real quick. So there was also a part right before this when he says that he couldn't fire Fauci. If you rewind it just a hair,
you're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to. That was cut very awkward, super awkward cut on that. So go ahead and play starting at that point again.
Why did you feel unable to fire Fauci?
Personally, you're not allowed to. Every time he goes on television, there's always a bomb.
Yeah, I mean there was clearly something that was clearly cut. Like you're not allowed to because you'll get. I mean, there could have been I don't know what the line was, but it could have been something very meaningful. Like you're not allowed to because if you fire somebody like that, you get screwed. You know,
he talks about it a little bit in this. Like there's clips used. Like what battle you're going to start a bigger fight if you fire him, and I think that's where that conversation goes. But yeah, I agree with you. It's a weird one.
All right, go ahead.
But there's a bigger bomb if you fire him.
Frankly, you can't win that one. If I would have done it, I would have taken heat.
You're fired. You're fired.
And now I got to look up DeSantis War Room. There's not a single thing on the end of that saying this mess. He didn't say it, and there's not even any type saying Ron DeSantis endorses this message. That's what I think. That's why I think there's such a massive push.
Then he's got to come out and say it. He has to come out and say this is not part of my campaign.
That's tough.
This thing's got 9.6 million views on this one tweet. He has to address this.
I think this is a tricky one because if these are the people that are literally self-funding the advertisements, I'm with you. I want him to speak out. But if these people are paying millions of dollars for your ads, and you're about to alienate them and say, this is not me, I think that's a tough ground. I'm with you. I agree. He should call it out. But I am not convinced that this is his thing. Like, because again, there was a lot of stuff leading like weeks and weeks ago where it was all done by by DeSantis's, one of DeSantis PACs. And there was nothing that and it was all digs on Trump and he had nothing to do with it. So I think it's tough.
Well, the thing is with this is you have to denounce it. That we've talked about this before on prior shows, especially around AI and the fears going into this election. There is going to be so much AI generated content. It's going to be very difficult to know what's true and what's not true. You cannot let these things slide. They have to be addressed.
Agree.
I
agree with that.
And that shows a sign of weak leadership if someone will not do that.
I agree. I think it's a huge issue and I wish he would speak up. But again, I don't think Trump makes a lot of mistakes too. And I'm going to address Tracy's comment. Trust me, I'm on the same path. The more he's getting attacked, the more, like, each time he does this, I keep wanting to go back, like the abusive ex-boyfriend. I keep wanting to go back to Trump and be like, I fully got his back. There's only a few things that I need to hear from him for me to be, hook, line, and sinker, full bore back into what he believes in. I'm still galvanized behind his core message, but I do think that he is partially bogarted just the same as the rest of them at this point, because again, he is so bought and paid for by big pharma. That's his linchpin. And that's one of my biggest voting topics, unfortunately.
It's a huge thing for me. And when it comes to Trump and him gloating about the jab, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you are saying this is a huge achievement, but it's not. You skipped every check and balance that we have in the healthcare system for a medical device or a vaccine to be approved, and you got it released. Yes, it was the fastest one ever, and that's cool, whatever, but it wasn't successful. So why are you bragging about it?
Yeah. Another issue on leadership. Again, I mean, right now, I don't think there's the level of bad on the left when you look at a Joe Biden and you look at what's going on with that whole thing around his crime family and all this stuff. And then the backup that is Kamala. I think that the Republicans have some decent candidates, including Donald Trump. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying Donald Trump is still the front runner. There's a reason he's the front runner. There's a couple things I wish he would do, but we know that's not part of the Trump brand. DeSantis, I still think, is a really solid option. I think Vivek is strong, but I don't think people know him enough to realize how strong he is. What he did today for Trump was fascinating. And I do think he's making a strong play for vice president. And I think that would be an interesting ticket because he is a person of color. He is a foreign looking, like there's a lot of positives, and he is a very pro-Trump. Like I don't even know how to politically correct say it, but he brings a lot of diversity to the ticket, and he's also brilliant at the same time, smarter than Trump, but doesn't have the stature. I think those are three great options. Chris Christie's just a large option, not a great option. Who else? Is there any other?
No, not yet. I honestly want to see, like, if you guys haven't looked into him yet. I know Kevin has mentioned his name a few times in the past, and it's Dave Smith.
Who?
The comedian Dave Smith. He is a libertarian, and there's a lot of pressure on him to run this year.
And I still think RFK is a decent choice at this point.
I don't disagree.
Who are we talking about? The city slicker, these country folks. He's a con grifter and a loony. Are we talking about
what in the world?
Vivek? Talking about Vivek? Who are you talking about? G. Cruz? Probably talking about me. He's probably just saying that I'm.
Yeah.
He could be. I don't know.
I'm confused.
Let's go through some of the
Trump.
Tabby, are we saying this because you dislike Trump, or that you like Trump and that we're questioning him, so therefore we're pedophiles? Let me know what we're looking at. I keep on going back to this. I get the constant attacks, and I think what's going on right now, especially with this, there was another part in the indictment that we didn't even talk about that is literally a conversation the lawyer talked about. What happened to client attorney privilege? The attorney the attorney is literally saying that Trump was asking if he was questioning, how is the lawyer even bringing this up? Like, there's so many questions in there about how they have so many people going after him, which I have not heard on any mainstream media, even the right leaning, talk about. Like, forget about all the different things in the indictment. How are there all of these secret tapes of the specific people that Trump brought into a room that said, hey, this is still kind of classified. Again, it's not right, and it's not playing by the rules. But how do they have these recordings? To me, this is a ultimate and brutal attack on Donald Trump.
It is. It absolutely is. And as G. Cruz, I was just going to talk about that Biden crime family. Biden, it's many politicians, guys. It's not just Joe Biden. At the very beginning of the show, someone mentioned that Biden's the criminal here, but Pence is also. There are plenty of others that are criminals. Look at Nancy Pelosi and her husband for insider trading. No one looks at that. Most politicians are probably participating in insider trading.
I mean, you look at the net worth of Pelosi. If you look at the net worth of God, what was one? I just saw a whole list of them. I should have brought it for the show, but you've got what's the one of the main Democrats?
Chuck Schumer?
Not Chuck. The other one.
The other one.
The other name we always make fun of. Sorry, the dogs barked. My brain lost.
Jeffries?
No. Jeffries apparently went berserk today. I didn't even get a chance to look at that. The other guy, not Adam Kinzinger, son of a bee sting. There's Chuck Schumer. Many. There's the other main guy that's always the whatever. Anyways, their net worths are up 50, 60, 70 million dollars over a span of 20 years, 30 years. Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff.
Oh, Adam Schiff.
Yeah. His is a 50 million net worth when he makes $174,000 a year. Thank you.
But let's not just point out the left. Look at the right.
Mitch McConnell's on that same list. No, you are.
Lauren Boebert's on that list. There is a crap ton of politicians. Why in the hell do they go in not even making six figures and they come out millionaires? How is this happening? You're supposed to serve your country as a congressman, but you are not when you are taking in seven figures and greater when you go in with less than six figures. That's stupid.
Let's look up Paul Soros and Vivek Ramaswamy. Or is he talking about, did he mean to say, he's saying it's Paul, Jorge's brother. Fellowship, paid to get service connection. I don't know. Let's see. I'm interested. I'll look. I will take the time to look into this. It looks like there's articles all the way from. So Vivek Ramaswamy paid to have his Soros fellowship removed from the internet. Probably not a bad idea.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I don't think he wants to be associated. I mean, if you did things when you were younger, I don't know. It's worth looking at. I'm curious. I don't think there's any evidence that they launched this campaign. It sounds like he spent money to expunge that from his record, but I'd be interested to hear more about that. No, I'd like to. I make you bet he had an interesting perspective. Tracy, give me a 3-sentence. Casey, you don't really watch him as much as you used to, do you?
Not anymore. No, I stopped.
He got a little negative for a bit.
Yeah, to say the easiest way.
And deservedly so. He was literally getting sued for just, and he was having to spend like life savings in order to survive in this world. So, yeah, contacts, contracts, yada, yada, yada. In all reality, I was at a Dallas Jewish conservatives event where they talked about about mass shootings and gun lobbies and all that stuff. And fact is, the biggest issue right now, like, you take away two things. You take away term limits. That's hard to do. What's easy to do is to take away PACs. Super PACs, they should be gone. It should be individual donors, period. That is the only way to stop being beholden to major corporate entities. Plain and simple. Let's see. Christy Noam said,
yeah. I was hoping, I just pulled up Steve's Twitter just to see if he posted anything about it, but it looks like all of his is going to be in a video. But yeah, if the media lied about it, would we be surprised? No, they always do. But Christy Noam said the swamp is deep and wanted nothing to do with it. Yeah.
It's interesting. Shelly said, and Shelly, a shout out again for donating your ticket to the Great American Summit. I was at a customer's house today, so crazy guys. She said, "Can I ask you a question? How do you feel about this on TV?" She had CNN on, and I said, "I think Trump had our economy great, no wars, etc. I think it's crazy when Biden and his son got caught with bribery and then go after Trump the same time as BS." She said she hadn't heard about that. So she goes, "I can't believe it." She had CNN. I was listening to Newsmax. Couldn't believe what they were saying on there. Yeah, I watch alternative. I watch the left wing media about 20% as much as I do with some of the centrist or right wing stuff, because I have to hear the messaging that they're doing, and the messaging is completely void of any counterpoint. Whereas Fox and people that will refuse to watch Fox, and you know what, I definitely don't watch it as much anymore. I'll watch a little bit of Gutfeld. If people really watch Fox, you'll see that they actually do have counterpoints. They have Democrats on their shows. The Five has a Democrat voice. They've got people that are anti-Trump. They've been painted a picture that is false. I think it's bullshit that they're so beholden to pharmaceuticals. I think it's bullshit that they're so beholden to a lot of the big corporate businesses. But I will go out on a limb at the behest of all the lefties out there that think I'm insane. The Fox News is still by far more balanced than any of the other mainstream networks at this point, period.
Yeah, I'm just done with all media. I don't care. They're all garbage. And this goes for Newsmax. This goes for all OAN, RSBN. I've seen all of them go a different path when money is involved.
Right.
Like, so how do you trust them? You can't. And so it's just, I can't entertain anything that they do anymore.
It's human nature, Casey. It's like we're expecting them to be superhuman. And unfortunately, we'd like to think that everybody is just as virtuous and that they got in the position for a reason. But fact is that, like, there's Mitch McConnell is hated even by Republicans. Nancy Pelosi is hated.
He's a politician.
What's that?
It's because he's a politician. Everybody hates politicians.
No, I get it, but they're even more hated. There are some politicians that people like. It, like even AOC, I think she's an idiot, but she's galvanized a base of people. These other two,
how dare you talk about Alex Stein's girlfriend?
What's that?
How dare you talk about Alex Stein's girlfriend?
Yeah, right. Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell are the perfect examples, Lindsey Graham included. And Lindsey Graham's got some old Republicans that still like to vote for him, but there is no way that Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell are winning their elections when they have to take the votes. There's no way. Nobody likes them, except for the fact that their coffers are so deep and so entrenched with so much finances. You can't assume these are fair elections in their places of residence in San Francisco. And there's no way. They're just not. It's money.
No, they're not. But you could also, like, that. The thing with Mitch McConnell, you got to remember, most people vote based upon name recognition, not by policy.
Okay.
And they do that mainly by the party they claim they're affiliated with. And so they'll be like, "Oh, I recognize this name and it's a Republican. check. Or I recognize this name and it's a Democrat, check. And no, that's not the way we should be voting, which is why we should be getting rid of all parties to allow people to force people to actually look into some of them instead of just go strictly off of name and party. That is how people vote today.
I agree. And, it was interesting again at that thing I went to the other night about mass shootings. The conversation was funny. There was a guy named John Burke who I got to have on a show. He was great. War hero, all the things. And he talked about the fact, like somebody was talking about, we got to get involved. Like, I was listening to you. We got to get involved. And he literally goes, no, I don't know what you stand for. So when I blanket term and say, you need to start running for local office, you need to vote and educate yourself. Great. But I don't know what you stand for. You might be crazy. And I was like, it's an interesting point. It was kind of a black pill moment for the whole room. It's like, we can tell everybody and their mother to get involved, but there's a lot of people that even on our team that might not be competent enough to hold those positions, and also might not quite understand the Constitution enough to hold those positions. So it is a gray area where it's like, we can willy-nilly say, everybody go educate yourselves and vote. If you have questions, have conversations with the other side. But the whole concept of like, if you have a problem, run for office. No, because there's a lot of idiots on the left that'll hear that the same way. So it's a gray area that I don't think we touch on enough.
I agree with you, but not. It's rare for someone just to get off the couch, go run for an election and get the position. It's like unheard of. That's why I think it was in 2020. What was it? A mayor or mayor of a city in New Jersey. He was a truck driver and he just decided, I'm going to run for city mayor or something. And won. It's very rare for that to happen. And it takes a lot of people to be so fed up with things or to be so bad that they just switch. When it comes to our elections, most of the time you have to get involved to understand the system, get your name out there, get some name recognition, and then you can get elected. If you look at, for example, my city, Harriman, we just barely elected a new mayor back in 2020. We also elected part of a new city councilman that's neighboring to my district in Harriman, and they ran before. They didn't just get elected the first time. They had to run multiple times to get their name out there and get people to know who they are. That is why you need to get involved, is you start learning the process. You start knowing who to communicate with and how things work. And then you know how to play the game of politics. It is a game. And if you don't do that, you're not going to be successful. And so getting involved is not just running for a position. Getting involved also is learning on how to use your voice as an American. That is also being involved.
I'll take that. No, that makes sense. I do. I mean, it's an interesting counterpoint. I agree. So part of the last thing with this indictment is, so this is what I'll be talking about tomorrow morning on Fox Radio. Nearly half the country supports Trump's federal indictment, believes politics were involved. The poll shows that 47% of Americans thinks that charges against Trump are politically motivated, according to an ABC survey, while nearly half of Americans support the second indictment of former President Donald Trump relating to his alleged mishandling of classified documents after leaving office. Many also believe it was politically motivated. Trump announced he was indicted by special counsel, 37 counts. We know this. A recent poll conducted after the indictment found that 48% of Americans think that Trump was rightfully charged in the classified documents case. 35% do not think he should have been indicted, and 17% reported feeling unsure of whether the president should have been indicted in this second time. So it shows that we are a truly divided country on this issue. It is as close to a 50-50 split as humanly possible. And the biggest issue is the fact that one half doesn't just disagree with it. They think that it's politically motivated. If you believe that it's politically motivated, that is worse than disagreeing with it. Politically motivated essentially is your way of saying that we have become a banana republic and we have an administration in office, an administration running this country that is politically just chopping the other the half of the country off at the bottom of the legs. That's a very dangerous place to be, where half the country thinks that the federal government is strictly no longer serving and actually attacking the leader of the opposition party. It's pretty scary.
It is. And I don't disagree on the Banana Republic reference, because you're starting to see it. And my friends, a couple of my friends call it kangaroo courts also, because it's just awful when you get in there. Now, sometimes the court system and the judicial system has worked its way out. Kyle Rittenhouse is one of them, one of the perfect examples of it doing its process and making the right decision. And I envision we're going to see the same with Trump. It's going to go through and do the right thing, and nothing's going to come of it other than waste time and money. Now, on your poll, I want to see those numbers. If it's 300 people that answer that question, where did they get it? Was it put on social media? Okay, left-leaning social media.
Well, it's ABC. It's an Ipsos survey. Ipsos is usually relatively good. Let me look it up. But in order to get the pulse of a nation, the actual sample size for most polls are typically under 1,500. That's actually like the go-to number that they've done. Let's see how many people.
Well, but think about it. If you create a poll, this is one of the downsides with social media today being so left-leaning. You create a poll and then you only spread it on, say, Twitter, pre-Elon Twitter. What do you think that poll's results going to be like?
Right.
And that is where polls are irrelevant today. You can't get any real polls because it matters on where it spreads. And where it spreads is where people are going to take the link and go and share it out.
I got it right here. Let's see.
I don't like any polls anymore.
Let's see. June 11th poll. Let's see how many it says. I got to look at the small print, the fine print. So it is a April 6th through the 7th. It was, hold on. Nope. 9th through the 10th, 910 respondents. Interesting. Okay. That's actually very interesting. Good call, Casey. So base for the 9th through the 10th, 2023, respondents total was 910. Okay. Out of that, only 150 were Democrats. 411 were Republicans and 287 were independents. That seems like an odd poll. That means that that's much more dangerous for Donald Trump now to say that many Republicans are leaning towards this being a valid situation. That's not good.
No, and to have that many independents, yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, independents, by saying you're an independent, you're probably more left-leaning, so it's probably closer to that direction. So they did the one on April 6th and 7th for the previous one, but that was done with 566 respondents, Democrats, 156 of them, Republicans, 132, and independents, 241. That's at least more of an even switch, to say the least. This one is vastly different. Huh.
Yeah, I like polls are all skewed. They're all bad, but I still think Trump is winning in this. I think that he's just this is putting his name everywhere, and he's going to get a whole lot of positive attention out of it.
This is an interesting stat on the graph is Republicans on the second one, the ones that were Republicans in the June 9th through 10th regarding this indictment. It went from, in April, the Stormy Daniels one, 21% of Republicans thought the charges were serious. 38% on this one of Republicans thought they were serious. That's, again, based on what we're seeing here. That's nobody polled me today. What was one of I meant to bring this up. I forgot to bring it up later. So the farmers right now are right behind soldiers in terms of suicide. It is
really
the numbers for farmers right now are drastically high for suicide. So again, what's happening with a lot of their costs of goods, all of the above, it's pretty dangerous to see what could happen to the country if we lose our farmers at the percentage that we're doing. So
two very underestimated industries is the trucking industry and the farming industry.
Yeah. Also, quietly, before we get into our last thing about George Soros, quietly, Taiwan is being put on warning by the United States of America, saying that now might be a time for evacuation. I've started to read that. That is the beginning of where the ball may drop in terms of World War III. If China is able to commandeer Taiwan That's a very serious thing. That's why you're starting to hear a lot of people talk about cyber wars, talking about EMPs, talking about somebody taking out our grid. I've had a lot of like the people that typically would be like, they're not usually the crazy ones. They're literally saying that it's imminent at this point, that there will be a need for food storage and all these different things, which is terrifying. But just know that that's happening. So,
but did John Kirby address that and say yes or no? I'm seeing he said there's no need for an evacuation. They did not disclose whether it was preparing for such emergency, well, such contingency. The reason why I was looking at it is I question everything our government's going to tell us. And when it comes to this, are they doing this and getting this information out there to instill fear into people so it can manipulate the election?
It's possible.
China tries. I doubt they're going to. There's way too much at risk. Yes, we have a horrible leadership right now. We look weak as hell in all of history. But when it comes down to China actually doing that, if they were to take over that country, they are really hurting themselves. Because what are we going to do? We're going to stop buying a lot of things from them.
Yeah. So this article is from the Daily Beast, which I believe is left-leaning, and it's more of a it's more of a whatever smut rag. But regardless, Washington. So it's kind of two-faced in the article. Washington is drafting plans to potentially evacuate American citizens from Taiwan amid officials' concerns about the inflamed diplomatic tensions between the U.S. and China, according to the Messenger. An unnamed senior U.S. intelligence official told the outlet that the development of the contingency protocols had been underway for at least 6 months, with planning having heated up over the past 2 months or so. Another source said Russia's invasion of Ukraine had been at least partially responsible for saying this. Ukraine drove a relook at what the plans were. Pentagon spokesperson declined to comment on specific plans. He cautioned, we do not see a conflict in the Taiwan Strait as imminent or inevitable. Asked about the report on a Monday news briefing, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said, it's not routine U.S. policy to evacuate private American citizens from areas of conflict. There's no indication at this time that current conditions in Taiwan would warrant any reconsideration of this policy. Essentially, there was a whole bunch of stuff that everybody saw, and they're drafting plans, and it's been talked about, and it was put in the media, and John Kirby had to say, no, there's no issue. That's what I read out of that, personally.
We'll see.
Okay. George Soros. I gotta share the image of the person that's now going to be in charge of $25 billion in political funding. Where is it? This stooge. Share screen and George Soros' son. Yeah, this guy. By the way, this guy has made I believe 14 visits to the White House in the last 12 months, or less than that even. It might have been just this year. So this is a guy that is invited, very much so, even with those blue glasses. I'm sure he'd be even more invited if he showed up with his wang cut off or something ultra left like that. But this is the guy that's now going to have his voice heard in the White House and using the multi-billion-dollar empire started by George Soros in order to have his politics heard. And interestingly enough, Alex has already stated that he is much more politically motivated than his father, if that was even possible.
He can't. I don't think George Soros would admit he's politically motivated. I would say that he is probably motivated by other things. Probably financially, and now his son is just admitting it, that hey, there is a political affiliation and I'm going to be more like it's a joke. The thing that we all should fear is someone at the age of 37 that has this brainwashing from his grandfather, because it's a grandson, son.
He was just an old dog.
Yeah, he must have been. And for him to be able to take over this $25 billion, whatever you want to call it, because it could be a political campaign. What is it?
There's multiple things. So one of them is a $1.5 million, $1.5 billion Open Society Foundation, a nonprofit that literally donates 1.5 billion of its revenue to liberal causes per year. A year.
But all it is it's embezzling money. Is all they're going to be doing. This is to get more money to come in, so they're just going to donate it out and write it off on taxes in some fashion. And having this kid at 37 years old take this over and run with it, and that's a perfect picture. She was probably very busy prior to that picture.
Yeah, right.
Taken with him.
I mean, this is the guy. This is the dude right there.
Dude, he is just weird to me. I was looking into him today when I saw your text, and I was like,
"That's
what about
weird
this dude? He doesn't even have any followers on Twitter or anything either." And I'm like, okay, like nothing compared to what I was expecting to see. Let me see. I'm pulling him up. He has 92,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
You would think that if he's taking over a big entity in the world, he would have more than 92,000 followers on Twitter.
See, to me, that's even more dangerous. Did you know that Klaus Schwab's net worth is rated at $6 million? That's it. When we all know that is his wardrobe is $6 million.
BS. Yeah, and I didn't make any money last year. I'm not filing my taxes.
I'm just throwing this out there, and this is kind of where we're going to wrap this topic. This is a much bigger issue than people want to say. And the right-wing media, they covered it, and they said how this is a lot, and they still have to be careful with his name because Soros strategically funds just enough right-wing media to make sure that he's untouchable. And that's why it's taken so long for people to get across him. And now that the sun is even more politically charged, this is if we think the last election had an issue, think about this 37-year-old headstrong, ultra-leftist political funder that is going to be doing everything he can to make sure that every left-wing cause is justified and is funded for the next election. This is much worse news, a bigger news than I think that it's getting credit for.
100%. This guy is coming out of nowhere, taking over this big entity, and he's saying he's going to be more political.
Right.
Okay.
And he does have an older brother, by the way. So 92-year-old Soros. So that means Soros was how old? He was 40. He was 50. He was pulling a little Al Pacino when he had him. But his older son, who was supposedly the heir to the family's $25 billion empire, theoretically, was 52, and he got passed over. And you have to feel like there's a reason for that.
Sure.
Another sketchy thought process.
Yeah, he has. This is interesting. It says he has 5 children. This is Wikipedia, by the way. So it's a left-leaning person. I'm sure it's true. He has 5 children, including Jonathan and Alexander. Okay, so who's the other 3? Are they just clones that he just made? And then
lizards.
Oh my gosh. These people are just ruining our world and our country.
So so he's been in the White House this kid has been there 17 times since Biden became president. More of which have been in the last calendar year.
Joe Biden hasn't even been in the White House 17 times.
Right? Who's he meeting with? Oh, man.
Well, we already saw one picture.
Oh, God. See, what else was I going to say? I always leave this till the end. But, guys, bottom of the page, thedrartershow.com. Use BFD at checkout for 10% off of all of his supplements. We've got a lot of regular shoppers there. So just keep buying that stuff. Supports us. And it's honestly for a lot of the supplements he's got, whether it's selenium, NAC, all the different stuff to prevent from getting the coof or some of the information that he provides on getting it out flushed from the system. He is a great guy to listen to. He's been a guest on Blunt Force Discussion several occasions. Make sure you check that out. I think that's it. Wake Not Woke store, guys. go to check out the merch, wakeonwokestore.com. Use Awake for 15% off. I've got the Pure Blood shirt on. Defund the media. Jeebus. Casey's got that on. Pure Blood. I've got a Wake Not Woke hat. We, of course, have Unveed Lives Matter shirts. V Injured Lives Matter. That's always a good one. Casey, how far away from the redesign of the, and I'll talk about cash real quick before we end again. How close are we to possibly being able to redesign the website with all the sections?
I'm still being picky on what I want to do as a layout, but we'll probably have it done next week.
Week or two. So we're gonna have a lot of everything's gonna be broken apart. We got Be the Change section, we've got Pure Blood section, and we've got Awake Not Woke section. Wake Not Woke is the funny stuff. Be the Change is motivational. Plus, there is the one making a comeback. Be the Fucking Change, one of my favorite shirts. That'll be back on there. It's the one time I dropped the F-bomb on this show. So
sorry, Nancy.
What's that?
Sorry, Nancy.
Sorry, Nancy. Cash is doing well. Every time I talk to him, super positive. I don't know how he is with what he's been through. He is excited to get out, talk about politics, excited to talk about stuff on how wrong a lot of the far left is, and also how corrupt the right is. He's done a lot of, he's a different dude than when he went in, just as powerful, more positive somehow, and you guys are going to enjoy it. So, and actually, teaser, he might have video chat at the new facility. If so, hopefully we'll be getting a little video. We'll maybe do some video stuff, inserts of the Cashley Kelly. Hopefully, that is the hope.
We hope, as long as the whole prison system lets someone freely talk. But no, they limit everything and charge you up the ass to have a conversation with them.
He's got a real interesting thing, Casey. I don't know if I think I told you at the event about the fact that why felons aren't allowed to vote. He said most felons that actually take the time to read, while the people that would vote when they get out start to realize how corrupt the leftist system is, and how and they would actually vote anti-establishment, which establishment right now is the left. Sorry. There is, Casey, don't correct me, there is a lot of establishment on the right too, but as a core, the Democrat side is much more anti-freedom and anti-rights and anti-Bill of Rights and anti-Constitution. He's like, everybody he talks to in there, he's like, I'm friends with a lot of black guys in here that have become so conservative that based on where they're from, they may or may not be able to vote when they get out because they're felons. And he's like, you'd be shocked at how much reading about the true history of this country will actually make most people at this day and time or point in time a conservative. So,
what other right do you lose when you become a felon?
Freedom of your butthole in the shower?
Right to bear arms?
Oh yeah, that too. Of course. Yeah.
So that is why I still believe the federal government has such a tight grip on keeping cannabis illegal, is they want to punish those people as much as they can and take away our rights.
Oh, this is not America anymore, but it is what it is. A lot of good stuff coming up. I was supposed to have an interview tomorrow. I don't think it's gonna. No, I was supposed to have an interview 2 days from now. I'll be auditioning at the Cowboy Channel tomorrow, so wish me luck. I got cowboy hats. I'm good to go. Pretty excited about that. So we'll see how that turns out. That's what I got next week. If I end up hitting the rodeo road with Kelly, I will not be able to do a show. Maybe Casey and Dave. Dave wants to come back next week, and then maybe I know KSOC may be involved. There again, summer school kids, etc. So that's what I got. Casey, final words.
Federal Reserve meets tomorrow to decide if they're going to increase the interest rates again.
Do you think it's going up?
I think they're going up.
I think
the media is already starting to play it off that they're saying the inflation didn't slow enough, and I'm like, well, there you go.
4% was the inflation. Biden is saying, look at that. It came down, not realizing that people are they realize that people are too dumb to realize. That means that it's actually 13.5% year over 2 years, whatever you want to call it. That's a lot. It should be right now. If we're actually trying to get a hold of it, it should be at 1 or 2% max. So
yes,
or negative, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So keep an eye on that, but it's bad. That's definitely not going to help us. We need to start admitting our economy is in a bad shape, hit the recession, learn from it, and get out of it. But we're going to keep this on life support, and we're going to make it worse as we keep doing it.
Teresa, I did not even know that my Venmo was up there. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. So Teresa, you're a rock star. I'm like, why did I get something from Venmo? So I never ask for donations and I forget that it's on there. I would love it though, because shit, this stuff is hard. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I guess I get to not eat ramen tonight. So thank you. God bless. Godspeed, guys. Have a great rest of your night. And thanks. Take it easy. Hasta la bagel.